Well, I finally got around to putting some vintage lenses on the RED Komodo, and yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. What's up everyone? My name is Caleb Bronco. I'm a photographer and filmmaker based here in South Florida, and today we are talking about vintage lenses on the RED Komodo. I really wanted to test vintage lenses on the RED Komodo because they flare quite a lot, which looks so good, but sometimes when I'm shooting with them on the R6, the flares kind of blow out the image, which is not as enjoyable. So the added dynamic range of the RED might make that like perfect. And spoiler alert, it does. For this video, I tested 3 different vintage lenses, and something to note is the camera was set at 5600 Kelvin, so any temperature or color shift that you'll see from each of these lenses came from the actual lens and not from the camera. So the first lens that I tested was a Contax super multi-coated Takumar 35mm f2. The Contax Takumars are some of my absolute favorite vintage lenses, and I actually just got my entire set cine-modded, so I'm very excited to use these on a proper shoot. The Takumars have an absolutely beautiful look to them, and this 35mm is a perfect pairing with the RED Komodo. When shooting at f2, you get a somewhat soft image, but it's not too soft where it looks bad. It's like that perfect amount of like vintage kind of glow and smoothness, and I love it. It looks so good. And if you want to really sharpen up the image, you just got to close it down a few stops. This 35mm, and actually most Takumars in general, have a very kind of warm vintage tone that it casts onto your entire image. And personally, I absolutely love it because that's the kind of look that I go for. So I don't have to try very hard in post to get like exactly the colors that I want, which is very nice. But if that's not your style, then maybe one of these other lenses might suit you better. Before we get to the next lens in this video, I just want to say that I have opened up a photo print shop on my website. So if you would like to support the channel and also have a beautiful piece of artwork for your home or office or wherever, I'll put a link right up here. So go over and check it out and let me know what you think. The second lens that I tested out on the RED Komodo was the Contax Zeiss 50mm f1.4. I am a huge fan of the Contax Zeiss series of lenses. I have an entire set that I'm currently in the process of cine-modding. Compared to the Takumar, the Zeiss is a much more clinical looking lens. The colors are very neutral, and it's a bit sharper wide open. It has a very nice focus fall off, and it flares beautifully. The ability to open the lens up to 1.4 is so nice and gives you such a perfect depth of field. Testing this Zeiss 50mm has just made me so excited to like mod the entire set and start using them for my paid work. The last lens that I threw on the Komodo is one of my all-time favorites. I made an entire video just about this lens, and that is the Canon FL 58mm f1.2. This lens is a monster when it comes to character and flaring and just an overall stylized look. It brings to life anything that you point your camera at, and I am absolutely dying to just build a set of these Canon FLs. When filming at 1.2, this lens glows and flares like crazy. The bokeh seems to swirl like a Helios, but like a Helios on steroids because it opens to 1.2. There seems to be a pretty warm cast from this lens, which personally I love, but might not be your thing. If you don't want all the crazy flares and character that this lens has at 1.2, closing it down to about f2 sharpens everything right up. This Canon FL 58mm is one of my absolute favorite lenses that I have, and I cannot believe that you can get these for like $200 right now. So which of these 3 vintage lenses was your favorite? Let me know down in the comments. I would love to hear about it. And if there's any other vintage lenses that you would like tested on the RED Komodo or just want to see how they look, let me know as well, because maybe I'll make a part 2. That is gonna do it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking and subscribing. It greatly helps this channel grow. Trying to build a community here. So happy that all of you are along with me. And with all that being said, I will see you in the next one.